Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, where have we got our HB Toys ZP1010 on the desk again? Well, if you cast your mind back to the recent review video, you'll know that I had three major gripes with this thing. The first of which was the solid suspension, which is way too hard for a trail truck. Pretty much same for the tyres, which have got no vent holes in them, so they're pretty firm for a trail truck. And the third thing was the terrible steering angle of this thing, which gave it like a super tanker like turning circle. But luckily for us, those three issues have relatively cheap and easy solutions, so that's precisely what we're going to be doing today. We're going to sort out the suspension, sort out the tyres, sort out the steering angle. And the first thing we're going to do is remove these tyres, and we're going to actually drill a little hole in the rim in order to vent them. Right, then that's all four tyres are off, and these are in fact split rims, so you can actually take them apart. But I'm feeling particularly lazy, so I'm wondering if I can't sneak a little drill down there and just drill a hole in the rim. So I think that's what we're going to try first. If that doesn't work, then we'll have to take them apart. The simple answer is yes, you can, and these things are a lot more compliant now they've got a vent hole in. I mean, obviously they are going to let a little bit of water and dirt inside, but hopefully the advantages negate the disadvantages. Tyres are all done, and that was a super simple job with the drill, literally 5 minutes tops. Now, steering angle, what we're going to do is, I don't know if you can tell there, is these hubs just catch the axle slightly. What we're going to do is just get me Dremel or a file and just put a notch in the hubs like that, so it gives us a bit more steering angle. So I've done the first hub, and I've used a little junior hacksaw just to cut the notch out. I'll bring you over here just so you can see. Don't know if you can see the difference there, the little notch in the hub, and that should hopefully be enough to give us a bit more angle on the steering. Anyway, I will carry on and we'll do the same thing to this one. Okay, then I've notched both hubs out and refitted them. I haven't tried it yet, but it doesn't look as though it should give me any grief with regards to the steering angle. Next up is the shocks. Now, I happen to have these old oil shocks off a defunct RC. They are a little bit longer than the standard ones, which I don't think will hurt, but they are a damn sight more compliant, and they are oil. The only thing I've had to do is swap the top eyelet over, and luckily it just popped straight in. So let's go ahead and fit these. Right, I've fitted the front shocks, and I've run into my first real issue. And to be honest, I thought I was going to have this problem. Because these shocks are approximately 10mm longer, I'm having trouble with the drive shafts popping out of the axles or binding up, because obviously the distance between the output and the axles has increased a little bit, which is a shame because these shocks are brilliant. I mean, just check this out. If I lift the back up, the originals are on the back. Basically, you don't get any movement there whatsoever. It's solid. But if we do the same with the front, I've got loads of axle articulation there. Not only have I got loads of axle articulation, I've also got an extra sort of 10-15mm ride height. So I wouldn't mind persevering with these things to see if I can sort this problem out. Now, what I'm proposing to do is shorten these two axle tie rods here. So instead of the really acute angle like we've got with the extended shocks there, we actually pull the whole axle assembly forward, and we take up that little bit of a distance between the axle input and the output shaft on the gearbox. So hopefully, if I work out a way of doing it, it should keep that centre drive shaft or the axle drive shaft in place. Right, happy days. I think I've sussed it, and more importantly, it hasn't cost me a penny. Originally, I was going to try and shorten the original lower tie rods by drilling another hole in and just cutting the end off. But I had a rummage through my spares drawer and came across an old set of WPL 12 4-8 rear axle tie rods, and these just happened to be, as luck would have it, the exact same length I needed, and they fit. So I've fitted them on. There is a little bit of play there because the internal shaft size of the WPL parts is slightly different to the pins, but I think we can live with that. I might be able to shim it up. And I tried the same on the rear, but for some weird reason the rear tie rods are different lengths to the front. So WPL ones wouldn't work on the rear, but I've put the front original ones on the rear and they've done the trick. So not only have I got a decent amount of suspension travel now, We've got extra bit of ride height, and more importantly, those axle drive shafts don't drop out anymore. So there's nothing else to do really, but let's go and try this. Okay then, back inside now then. Did our little upgrades make any difference to the truck off-road? Shock horror, yes they did. Well, we've actually got some suspension travel for a kick-off. I mean, we've got a little bit of axle articulation. I would have liked a bit more, to be honest. But anything's better than the originals. The originals were absolutely rock solid. But we've got a nice increase in ground clearance. I can get my fist underneath there now. Obviously we've got some holes in the tyres now, so these vent nicely, so they become exponentially softer, and that few extra degrees that those notches in the hubs gave us just makes it a little bit more manoeuvrable. So accumulatively you do get a decent increase in performance. So if you've got one of these little trucks, would I recommend that you perform these mods? And the answer is absolutely yes. They're dead easy to do. In my case, they were completely free, and they do make a decent difference. I mean, this thing is a reasonable little trail truck out of the box. With these little mods, it just gets exponentially better. So it's a win-win all round. The only real gripe I've still got with this thing is it does lack a little bit of low-down refinement. The modulation on the control isn't brilliant, and it is a little bit jerky, and for what it is, I'd like a touch more control with the electronics. But I do have to keep reminding myself that this thing was only 45 quid, so really I should be able to forgive it anything. Anyway, if you found this video of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up, and if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button. It's only a small click from you guys, but it makes a huge difference to the channel. It really does. Anyway, thanks for watching guys, and I'll catch you again very soon. Thank you.